It's almost Halloween, and that means that our time with monsters, ghouls, and mayhem is coming to a close. It's sad, but at the same time, if it lasted forever, it wouldn't be as special now, would it? Now, we have gone through many Universal monsters over this 31 days marathon. We've gone through Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, Bride of Frankenstein, the Invisible Man, the Wolfman, and the Phantom of the Opera. There's only one monster left to take a look at. One monster that we haven't yet experienced in our marathon. And it just so happens to be arguably one of its most famous. We've been through castles, laboratories, the foggy woods, more laboratories, hotel inns, and theatrical stages. Now it's time to go somewhere we haven't gone yet. Into the depths of the swamp. That's right. It's time to talk about the Gill Man. It's time for the creature of the Black Lagoon. And this is a movie that has so much background on it that's going to encompass at least half of this review. So, what's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station, Animation for anything animation, including TV, movies, and especially monster films. I am your host and monster fan, Jackson Small. Welcome back to 31 Days of Horror Monster-Mania. We are in the final act of Monster-Mania. Please forgive the heater running in the background. It's getting to the point where it's getting really cold out, so it has to stay on for at least a little bit. And tonight at 2 in the morning, please forgive me, I was rewatching some movies with a friend. We are taking a look at the creature from the Black Lagoon. The first of 3 movies that'll close out this year's Monster-Mania, this year's 31 Days of Horror. And yes, I know there's one more Abbott and Costello movie to take a look at before then. Well, after these 2 reviews, but in terms of like overall series for Universal, this one, the Creature from the Black Lagoon series, the trilogy, is the last series in this pantheon and is the end of the Universal Monsters as we know it. Now, many people call this a B movie, and it makes a lot of sense to call it that because this came out around the time when the B movies exploded in popularity because of, needing escapism from World War II. So, because of that, it makes a lot of sense that they went in a goofier, more lighthearted, fun direction. But this movie is still a tragedy, because just like Phantom of the Opera, it has its fair share of unique complexities when you really delve into it deeply, as we're about to do. Now, I'm not going to give you like a full plot or anything, because this review is long enough as is, but trust me when I say a good bit happens in this movie, but also a lot doesn't happen at the same time. It's kind of weird. But first, we have a lot of background info to talk about, including how this movie was conceived in the first place. So, sit down, grab yourself some popcorn, grab a drink, preferably something healthy for you like a Circle, and not sponsored, by the way. That's just me giving a free shout out to a product I really like. Let's get straight into the lengthy production of this movie, as well as its novelization and its overall legacy. Here we go. Producer William Allen was attending a dinner party during the filming of Citizen Kane, in which he played the reporter Thompson, in 1941, when Mexican cinematographer Gabriel, I'm gonna butcher this name and I'm sorry, Figueroa told him about the myth of a race of half-fish, half-human creatures in the Amazon River. Allen wrote story notes entitled The Sea Monster 10 years later. His inspiration was Beauty and the Beast, of course. In December of 1952, Maurice Zim expanded this into a treatment, which Harry Essex and Arthur Ross rewrote as The Black Lagoon. Following the success of the 3D film House of Wax in 1953, the Vincent Price remake, Jack Arnold was hired to direct the film in the same format. But unfortunately, there has not been a faithful 3D version of this movie available on physical media, not even on the 4Ks. The designer of the improved Gilman was Disney animator Millicent Patrick, though her role was deliberately downplayed by makeup artist Bud Westmore, who for half a century would receive sole credit for the creature's conception, because he was a self-opposing asshole, just like Bob Kane. But thankfully, just like Bob Kane, he has now been faded into irrelevance. Serves him right for taking away credit from people that actually did all the work. Jack Caven, who worked on The Wizard of Oz and made prosthetics for amputees during World War II, created the creature's bodysuit, while Chris Mueller, however you pronounce that, Jr. sculpted the head. Ben Chapman portrayed the Gill-Man for the majority of the film, shot at Universal City in California. The costume made it impossible for Chapman to sit for the 14 hours of each day that he wore it, and it overheated easily, so he stayed in the back lots late, often requesting to be hosed down. He also could not see very well while wearing the headpiece, which caused him to scrape Julie Adams' head against the wall while carrying her into the grotto scenes. That's not his fault. Trust me, I know how that is. My Red Hood helmet, you can't see out of that either. So, in all these years of evolution, that has still been something that we've been unable to really get around when designing monsters and creature suits and all kinds of shit. So, can't really blame him for that. Rico Browning played the Gill-Man in the underwater shots, which were filmed by the 2nd Unit in Wauchula Springs in Florida. Many of the on-top-of-the-water scenes were filmed at Rice Creek near Palatka, Florida. The film was novelized in 1977 in paperback under the pseudonym of Carl Dreadstone, as part of a short-lived series of books based on the classic Universal horror films by editing will correct me later. Name will be here. It's, James has said it, I just forget what the name of the company was. The book was introduced by Ramsey Campbell, but was written by Walter Harris. The novel offers a completely different Gill-Man, who in this version of the story is gigantic, almost as big as the Rita herself, weighing in at 30 tons. It is both cold-blooded and warm-blooded, is a hermaphrodite, and also possesses a long whip-like tail. The giant creature is dubbed AA for Advanced Amphibian, or AA, whatever, by the expedition team members. After slaying most of the team members, destroying a Sikorsky helicopter and kidnapping Kay more than once, the creature is killed by a crew of a U.S. Navy torpedo boat. Yeah, quite different from the movie. The novel also differs greatly with respect to the human characters. Only David Reed and Kay Lawrence remain the same. Mark Williams is a German named Bruno Gebhardt and dies not as a result of drowning, but by the monster falling on him. Lucas is named Jose Goncalves Fonseca de Souza and is a mostly sympathetic character until his suggestion of throwing the wounded and unconscious Reed to the monster makes an enraged Gebhardt/Williams throw him to the beast instead. Dr. Thompson and Dr. Maya both die grisly deaths, whereas in the movie, they survive. Maya is eaten by the monster and Thompson's impaled by the long tree branch flung at him by the creature like a spear. An apparent nod to a deleted scene from Revenge of the Creature, wherein the Gill-Man killed a guard in the same fashion. No doubt we're probably going to have to mention that again when we get to that movie. Now the legacy. This movie has a very long legacy of cameos, references, and homages, so strap in. The movie has an enduring legacy in both media and the general public. A musical based on the movie opened at Universal Studios Hollywood in late June of 2009. It really took that long? Damn. It has also been widely referenced in part due to its groundbreaking character in other media. In fact, many movies featuring monsters put a Gill-Man likeness in the background as an homage. More directly, the Gill-Man appeared in the Robot Chicken episode, Shoo, voiced by, of course, Seth Green, who voices everybody in Robot Chicken. He tells a man that he prefers the lagoon to be called the African American Lagoon. Why? Jokes, I guess. The monster also appears in We Are a Humble Factory, now voiced by Breckin Meyer, where Count Chocula, Frankenberry, and Booberry are angrily mentioned by him, as well as Fruit Yummy Mummy and Fruit Birds. The creature decides to make his own cereal called Creature with the Black Macaroons. I'm not sure Marinette would approve of that, because macaroons sounds like lagoon. However, the cereal wasn't successful, and when all cereals were dumped into his lagoon, he says, I should have gone with legumes, as legume also sounded like lagoon. Its likeness was also used for the film The Monster Squad, though made a little bit more monstrous in its overall design. However, due to the licensing issues with Universal, the creature was just referred to as the Gill Man, which is why he's most known as the Gill Man today. Ben Chapman introduced the creature in costume with Abbott and Costello on live television on an episode of the Colgate Comedy Hour. Even earlier in The 7-Year Itch, the film is referenced when Tom Ewell and Marilyn Monroe, yes, that Marilyn Monroe, come out of a theater showing of Creature from the Black Lagoon. Monroe expresses some sympathy for the character and saying that it was not really bad and just wanted to be loved. The creature has a brief cameo emerging from Lake Springfield in The Simpsons, because of course The Simpsons references everything. Creature from the Black Lagoon was later made into a pinball game designed by John Trudeo, aka Dr. Flash, and was released in 1992 by Midway under the Bali brand name. This game has a retro 1950s drive-in theme, because of course it does. It also features such 50s classic songs as Rock Around the Clock, Get a Job, and Summertime Blues. Completing side missions in the pinball game causes the screen display to show Universal presents Creature from the Black Lagoon, and then requires the player to chase after the monster just like in the film. The game sold 7,841 units. Which, I mean, to be fair, it sounds like a pretty damn cool pinball set, so I can't say I'm surprised. A series of children's books written by Mike Thaler and Jared Lee parody the film. Beginning with The Teacher from the Black Lagoon, it continued with The Principal, The Gym Teacher, and several others. The Marvel comic character Triton of the Inhumans is a green, water-breathing character resembling the creature from the Black Lagoon. The DC Comics character Aquaman donned a suit of armor resembling the creature in the 2005 to 07 miniseries Justice. In The Nightmare Before Christmas, yes, we're still going here, there is a character in Halloween Town who's clearly meant to be a version of the creature from the Black Lagoon. In one song, it ponders the context of Jack's present. Perhaps it's the head that I found in the lake. Yes, that's where this monster came from. When paleontologist Jenny Clack of the University of Cambridge discovered a fossilized amphibian in what was once a fetid swamp, she named it Eucritza malonymitis, which is Greek for the true creature from the Black Lagoon. Though technically a merman, the character Rikuo from Darkstalkers and his race bearer a striking resemblance to the Gill Man, and perhaps more so than any other character in the game, remain very true to the source character, with Rikuo, or Rico, however you pronounce that, being from an area in Brazil near the Amazon. Even the character's name is a reference to one of the actors who played the creature, Rico Browning. Trinidadian calypso singer Lord Melody released a song called Creature from the Black Lagoon in 1957. In this song, he is compared to the creature by his son's friends, which his son protests. This song became one of his signature songs and also endured as a nickname for Melody for many years. In an episode of the classic TV series The Munsters, the Munster family receives a visit from Uncle Gilbert, who proudly refers to himself as the creature from the Black Lagoon. Frankenstein drag queens from Planet 13, a band from North Carolina, who were fronted by now Murder Dolls lead singer and solo artist Wednesday 13, also did a song about the creature, naming it Creature from the Black Lagoon. The heavy metal band Iced Earth also did a song about the creature called Dragon's Child on the Horror Show album. Dave Edmunds with his rock band Rockpile also performed a song called Creature from the Black Lagoon. Edmunds' song, included in his 1979 album Repeat When Necessary, was written by Rockpile's lead guitarist Billy Bremer. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, the animated series, parodied the movie and the tomato from the Black Lagoon, where the gang looks for a missing tomato leak in the San Zucchini Botanical Gardens, and are stalked by an amphibious tomato who goes after Tara, who is also part tomato, of course. Abe Sapien of Hellboy fame was originally inspired by the film and its titular creature. So yeah, this is where Abe's design came from. For Hellboy fans, that's another thing you have a reason for this movie to be thankful for. The half-man, half-fish character known as the Missing Link, often referred to as Link in the movie Monsters vs. Aliens, is an homage to the creature from the Black Lagoon. In Hotel Transylvania, there are multiple Gilman in the crowd scenes with other famous monsters. The Monster High character, yes, we're really going here, Monster High, Laguna Blue is the daughter of the Gilman. The Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV series episode Go Fish featured aquatic creatures very similar to the Gilman. It also gave rise to the following dialogue. Cordelia, it's one thing to be dating the lame unpopular guy, but it's another to be dating the creature from the Black Lagoon. Black Lagoon, the creature from the Black Lagoon was Brooke Shields. Funko released in October 2010 a 7-inch button-eyed cuddly monster that very strongly resembled this character. Pro wrestling for the Nintendo Entertainment System features the Amazon, otherwise known as Half Piranha, Half Man, who shares many similarities with the creature, but the Gilman. Kilted Creature performs a tribute to Creature from the Black Lagoon playing bagpipes swamp metal, original tunes at horror cons, concerts, festivals, etc., coming from the creature's point of view of love, life, and murder. And now for the many failed attempts at trying to make a reboot of this movie, because this is one movie that, for some reason, Universal and everyone else has been unable to actually reboot correctly. Or even really reboot at all, honestly. Let's talk about it. In 1982, John Landis was keen on getting Arnold Stan to direct a remake of the film, and Nigel Neal was commissioned to write the screenplay. Neal completed the script, which involved a pair of creatures, one destructive and the other calm and sensitive. Kind of like the two gargantuous, in a way. My Japanese fans will know that reference. Being persecuted by the US Navy, a decision to make the film in 3D led to the remake being cancelled by producers at Universal, both for budgetary concerns and to avoid a clash with Jaws 3D. Yes, you have another reason to hate that piece of shit now, because it's the reason why we never got a remake of Creature from the Black Lagoon. In July 1992, John Carpenter was developing the remake at Universal. Herschel Weingrod and Timothy Harris wrote a new script, and Universal offered Peter Jackson the director's position in 1995, but he chose to work on King Kong instead. Which, to be fair to him, is an amazing movie. So, I think he made a good choice. In February 1996, Ivan Reitman was planning to direct the remake, but the outing never materialized. With the financial success of the Mummy remake in May 1999, development of the Creature from the Black Lagoon remake was revived. Sorry, I had a drink there. This is the most I talked in any of these reviews so far. Like, damn. So much background info, it's crazy. In December 2001, Gary Ross signed on to write and produce the remake with his father, Arthur A. Ross, one of the original writers. He told The Hollywood Reporter, "The story my father wrote embodies the clash between primitive men and civilized men, and that obviously makes it a fertile area for re-examination." In August 2002, Guillermo del Toro, a fan of the original, was attached as director. Because of his commitments to numerous other projects, Universal was forced to go without del Toro and hired T.D. Sarafian, credited for Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, to write a script in March 2003. Yeah, we all dodged a bullet there. Like, I may like Rise of the Machines, but it's more because it's just a goofy, guilty pleasure, not because it's actually a good movie, which it's not. In October 2005, Breck Eisner signed on as director. As a kid, I remember loving Jack Arnold's original version of this film. What I really want to do is update an iconic image from the 50s and bring it in more of the sci-fi sensibility of Alien or John Carpenter's remake of The Thing. Ross said in March 2007 the Gill-man's origin would be reinvented, with him being the result of a pharmaceutical corporation polluting the Amazon. It's about the rainforest being exploited for profit, he said. The film was delayed by the 2007-2008 Writers Guild of America strike, and Eisner put The Crazies on his priority. And a film that's okay, but I don't know, I feel like this would have been better. Once he finishes filming that, he will begin filming Creature from the Black Lagoon in Manaus, Brazil, and on the Amazon River in Peru. Eisner was inspired to shoot on location with Fitzcarraldo, and the boat set has been built. Eisner continued to write the script, which would be a summer blockbuster full of action and excitement, but still scary. Eisner spent 6 months designing the new incarnation of the Gill-man with the help of Mark McCreary, who was the designer of Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean and all the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. The director said the design was very faithful to the original but updated, and that the Gill-man would be sympathetic. In 2009, it was reported that Carl Enrique Reinsch might direct a 2010 remake that would be produced by Mark Abraham, Eric Newman, and Gary Ross. However, a project featuring this ensemble had been abandoned by 2011. In March of 2012, Universal announced that a reboot was in production and will simply be referred to as The Black Lagoon, rather than Creature from the Black Lagoon, in order to distinguish the two versions from each other. The film was expected to hit theaters by May of 2014, but that did not happen. In October 2012, the studio hired David Kajanik to write the film, but it never materialized, because once again, it was axed. So, yeah, there have been several attempts to try to remake and readapt this movie, and all of them fell through because either Universal was too lazy, or there was creative differences. So, yeah, it's pretty fascinating how deep of a background this movie has, even now. So, I think now that we are 22 minutes into this review, we can go ahead and move on to the final thoughts. It's pretty crazy that the last of the iconic Universal monsters was created all because of a producer being told of a myth by a Mexican cinematographer, and a dinner party in between filming Citizen Kane. Like, how bizarre of circumstance to lead to this to even be made at all. But, regardless of the bizarre circumstances, this is absolutely a classic movie, deserving its high praise, and one movie that all monster fans need to see, no matter what. Sure, the human characters and their pointless love triangle subplots suck, and also because two of the characters are pretty much the exact same character. But that's more than likely done on purpose, since they're the antagonists rather than the titular monster, unlike the previous Universal monster films where they've been the victims rather than the perpetrators. And speaking of the monster, he's absolutely incredible both for the time period and even now thanks to the remarkable design work by Millicent Patrick. Add on great tragic storytelling, phenomenal cinematography, especially in the revolutionary underwater scenes. Keep in mind, this was decades before Jaws, and it was able to do this very thing successfully even back then. Phenomenal cinematography. Sorry, I already said that, my bad. Superb acting, especially from both Ben Chapman and Rico Browning as the Gill-man. Both of them do a great job. Good runtime of only 79 minutes, high rewatchability, and a very ballsy ending. And you have one of the strongest movies in the entire legacy, definitely worth diving into. It's not one of like my top 5 favorites, but it's at least top 10. It's definitely a great film, it's an excellent production, and after having so many back-to-back disappointments in this very late era of the Universal horror cycle, this was a nice refreshing change of pace. So, I don't really have much else to say here. It's a great movie, only held back by the human characters being insufferable. Even though, again, that was probably done on intention. So, final word for this movie is a 9 out of 10. It's an excellent film. If you haven't seen it yet, you need to. And if you're a fan of Jaws, I think you'll really love this too, because this is obviously what inspired it with the underwater scenes and the incredible cinematography. Seriously cannot sing this movie's praises highly enough. It is an incredible first-time watch. Unlike the second one, which has only one significant thing about it, and then the rest kind of just exists. Oh well. But thanks you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this on Monster convey. Feel free to hit the hype button if you so desire to get this higher up in the algorithm. And of course, leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below on this film, on this video, on my format, or whatever else you want to say. And I'll see you guys next time for the underwhelming, boring sequel, Revenge of the Creature.